have, in addition, 2 minutes just to discuss, because you gave me 15 minutes.
No,
Correct that I asked 15 minutes, but I will take this time, 20 minutes. That 2 minutes from them, it's not related to my lecture. It's related why I selected genetics. And not genetics, why two things that I never said I do it. In effect, three things, but I will just discuss with you about the first two. The first one, I said never I will marry with nursing. And when I back from Italy, my friends introduced me a lot of friends, girls, but the click, it's not working. And one day I come to Tel Sheva. I'm a Bedouin from the south, and I have been living in Beersheba, and I come to my parents in Tel Sheva, and in the morning at 8 o'clock, behind the school, I see some girl. I stop the car, it's dear. I said, if it's not married, it will be my wife. And when I asked her what she is doing, she told me nursing. This is the first things. The second things, I said never I do genetics. Why? Because it's really difficult. And even always, wherever I'm going to giving a lecture, I'm always asking my lecture to be the first, because genetics, it's not easy. And I can understand all of you now, after all the days, genetics. So I said, I'm going to be an academic. And to be an academic, it's the best to go in genetics. And this is what I told my colleagues there sitting, that she asking me what I'm doing. I'm talking with you, yes. And I'm very happy that I do this decision. And you will see we discovered 6 new genes, and all is published in Nature Genetics, and 36 new mutations. This, you will know why we do research in genetics in Israel. And in the last 4 years, I know another one friend from Netherlands. He is American, and he is decided to come to do a research in mental illness. And now we're running 2 projects in multi-center in Israel, the epilepsy and the schizophrenia. So let's start with the talk. This is the things that I'm going to talking very slowly. I'm here not to teaching all of you epilepsy, no, just to share with you what I'm doing and my experience, where is the dilemmas. So the first slides, I will go to talking a bit about the epilepsy, clinical and genetics. Then I cannot go into talking about dilemma without giving you key point about the basic of the research in genetics. Then I will give you, if I have, I put 2 families, but if I have a time, we'll present the 2, otherwise I will present 1 families. Then we will see together where is the dilemma. Then here in Israel, it's different from all the world. How is the ethical and how it's difficult to get the IRB, especially in the genetics. We will discuss about that in 1 slide. Then what is my recommendation? This person is called Professor Sam Perkovic, and the lady that is with him, Ingrid Schiffer. Both of them is the leaders in the world in the genetics of epilepsy. Sam Perkovic, he is the first man that he is discovered the gene of epilepsy in '94, and Ingrid Schiffer, she was her students in PhD when they found the first gene, and now they are the strongest in the world, and both of them the head of the epilepsy unit in Melbourne. I have the chance to work with both of them for 11 years, and most of the new genes we found together. But before, this is the first gene between 94 and 95. Just to look in during 5 years, how is the genetics go? But you cannot imagine from 2010 to until now to 2019, it's like that. And I think someone did not see Professor Amos Korshen, that he is coming before and he's sitting here. Professor Amos Korshen, he was the head of the neurological department in Tel Aviv. And he's met Professor Sam Perkovic in some conference, and he told him, look, if you like to be a famous person, come to Israel. And he told him, why? Why in Israel? And here is the answer. You cannot find no place in the world to find all these things. Israel is a small country, and you can't find all the patients. And you will see from the two families that I will present to you how I collect some families that related from other villages. Israel, I can tell all of you, I have been more than 37 countries in the world, some of them 7 times. The best in the Middle East in the health medical service, even if we claim that it's not good. Go to Morocco, you can just find 2 or 3 EEGs, video EEGs. Just in Tel Aviv, we can have 5, 6. So if you have a good physician to diagnose, and this is one of the recommendation and the key, good diagnosis without phenotyping, very good phenotyping, you cannot find the gene. In Israel, we have the Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Bedouin, Druzi, whatever, all the ethnic group. We have a large families. When I'm starting to working in this project in 2000s, I'm going to meet families with more of 4 affected in the family. Now, with the sporadic cases, we're going to check the genetics. There is a consanguinity. You can find 60% in the south of Israel, in the Bedouin, there is a consanguinity. And we must to admit in Israel, the people is cooperate, not like in the United States and the other places in the world. Look, I talked in the last 5 years what it's happened, just to give you what is the advances in the genetics of epilepsy in the last 5 years. We can see the International League of Epilepsy has changed the classification and put the genetics as an etiology and as a diagnosis. What about the neuroimaging? We have the EEG, the video EEG, the MRI, everything we have. What has happened in the last years in the molecular biology? All the new techniques, the axome, whole exome, whatever you like. Epidemiology, the same things. All this make strong to find a new syndromes and the new types of epilepsy. This is just to see the epidemiology. We can see in 2 peaks, in the first peak in the first life and in the end of the life. This is the prevalence between 4 to 10%. In Israel, we have just 3 works done about the prevalence. I do 1 work in the south about all the Bedouins, 96,000 person, and we found the same things, 4%. This is the causes. Just this slide to show all of you that the most things is idiopathic, and all the idiopathic is called like a genetics. Why it's important? It's important because it can give us to discover and to know new syndromes. Allow genetic counseling when you know. Diagnosis. Now, for example, GLUT1 that we found it. It's a lot, the patient is just have a seizures, but there is a mutation. And all the neurologists giving a medication for these patients because he have a seizures, but in effect, it is a brain barrier, blood barrier, and it's not a seizures. So the diagnosis and the treatment, it's different. The treatment is just to give him ketogenic diet and not medication. So it's very important for the diagnosis. Increasing our understanding how the epilepsy, and now with the last 10 years, the last 2 years just influencing the treatment. If we know the patient have sodium channel, there is some medication that we did not give this patient. Just to show all of you how it's running from 2000s until 2019. It's this is the first side. The second thing, we go to the K point. What is the genetic information that we can get? We can get good news or bad news. And it's a normal, and it's not easy to discuss with the family. It's just we here in this room, we can say, okay, he has a mutation, but everybody to take this in use about himself, it is not easy. And this is, I think, why this project is so successful, because they try to do it in Haifa, they try to do it in Beersheba, and it's not working. It needs some things. You need, and someone, I think Michael, he talked about that when he talked, there is something context in common. As a scientist, I'm very interested to find new things. The family, he did not buy money for the diagnosis, and I can give him answer and diagnosis. The doctor that he is referred to me, the family, he will be included in the paper. So we like 3 angles, and everybody have some interest. So, and you must to be very honest and trust with the patients, with your patients. If you found something, you must tell him. Because the patient thinking that genetics like a blood test, and after 1 month he is like a result. It's not working like that. It's a research, and you must explain him this is a research. It's not a blood that you are going to buy money and after 1 month you have a result. Look, I put these things because I know what it's different when you're talking about the Arab population than Ashkenazi people. Because when we found some gene in Sakhnin, in the Arabs family, and we explain him that they have mental retardation and they have other problems, and you tell him, don't go to married with the family, and you coming after 1 year and 2 years, and you can found him, even he have a mental retardation, he's still married in the family. So you must understand the mentality and the people that you are going to talking with him. And when you're explaining to him about the consent form, did he understand that about yes or not? The level of the education is very important. With who are you talking? Are you talking with people that he is really understanding what are you telling him? And the religion as well, it's a very important, because if you know that your patients have fatal epilepsy and you found the mutation, he is going to asking the imam or the sheikh to do abortion, yes or not. So all this point you must to put him in consideration. Other point, ethical principle research. Oren, how many times I have?
A few more minutes. 6.
Okay. Autonomy and beneficence, non-maleficence and justice. I think all this important. And here this slide I must to stop a bit and just to telling you from my experience, the IRB that sitting in Jerusalem or a local committee in any hospital, they putting people that did not understanding about this research. And it's happened with me 1 month ago in Nazareth, when I'm asking about the schizophrenia IRB, and social working asking me Okay, if you found the gene, how you will telling the family to do abortion? Look, I'm not going to tell him to do abortion or not, but if I find a gene, I must tell him, I send him to the counseling, genetic counseling. And he kind of blocking you for 1 year for things that he didn't know. So you will see in my recommendation, and I think this is what Oren doing now, must to be in any faculty or in the committee, he must to know at least the basic things in ethical and research. The other things that I note, it's the lack of awareness among the doctors, research, and the students. Even there is some courses, but I think it's not enough. They are still still didn't know nothing about the ethics, even not just in the research, but even in the life in medicine every day. Lack of interdisciplinary specialization in ethics. And I think in the last 2-3 years, I'm in a committee of grants, and now the highlight is the interdisciplinary research. If you find some two things different and to put it together, this is the excellent things. And you must to find the equilibrium between the ethics and the morals. And here, the ethics, I will present the first family. It's a Lafora disease, and this is the mutation EPM2B. This is a fatal type of epilepsy. This is a family that I found from Schneider Hospital. Just one affected. He is responding very well to the phenotyping. She is 17 years old, normal development, age of onset of the seizure at 4 years with absence. Absence is looking like that. And at 5 years, he have a febrile seizure. Then at age 11, he started to have a myoclonics in the hands and in the legs. Then he have a tonic-clonic like that. Then at age 13, he started to be deteriorated with ataxia and dementia. When I take blood, I just take blood from the mother and the affected and from the sister. The father, the mother, they are separated. Between the father and the mother, they are separated. And look what it's happened. When I sent that to the lab, we found the other. We take it as a healthy. We found it as affected. What we can do? She is 14 years old. What we can do? What do you think we can do? She is 14 years old. She have the mutation, and they can living and surviving until 35 years old. What we must do? We take a blood as a healthy. First of all, we must to make a validation of the test. We inform the committee, the local committee. In the end, we inform them. This is the dilemma.
Did she know she was being tested? The
Of
14-year-old?
course, she consent form with agreement of the mother. She is a 14 years old. She is not. Okay, but other dilemma, if the father said, and he said, look, we didn't like to do the test, to validate the test. And here is really the dilemma. I will do it quickly, other mutation that we found another gene, the prickle one. This is a family from Sakhnin. This is interesting family with syndrome is called Unverklorenberg disease. This is the phenotyping of this family, progressive myoclonic epilepsy with cognitive milding and ataxia. It's really look like Alophora, but Alophora in the time it's coming will be progressive. After some, maybe after 5 years, we found another family from Tamra, and we thought it's the same things. But clinically, it's the same things. But when we're making the testing, we see it's in another chromosome. And we published that. This is the phenotyping. We excluded that molecularly. And then after 2 years, some neurologist, he's called me and he told me there is another affected from the same town. I went to them and I see really the phenotyping is not corresponding, but someone, he said, look, here I'm married from Irbid, from Jordan, no, from Shfar'am. We went, this branch from Tamra, this is from Tamra, this is from Shfar'am, and all related. But here he said, I'm married from Jordan, and we have 5 brothers is affected. And here is Sakhlin, this is the first family, this is the Tamra, the new variable, let's call that. And then this is other branch, and the third branch from Irbid. We went to Jordan, and we can found this is 18 patients in the same family. And it's take for us 4 years to find the gene. But look how it's important, the phenotyping, because the red, he is really affected and he have a progressive myoclonic epilepsy. The other ones, they have like a phenotyping, but it's different. So the phenotyping is very, very important. And we have still a challenging and ethical challenge, and especially genotyping, phenotyping, and how we can, now they're talking about the treatment in the gene therapy, and I'm finished. And here the conclusion, genetic data has the potential to improve consumer in the health with risk and challenge. Urgent things must need to do, I think, in my point of view, training and education, researchers, patients, providers, regulators must to make seminars, increase awareness of the IRB committee in hospital in Israel among doctors, research, and students, increase the number of the meeting of the committee to discuss proposals, to learn more about the problem in the field of the research, how to deal with that, interdisciplinary specialization in ethics, and to enable advanced scientific research, ethically sensitive issue while answering strict protection against harm. And thank you very much.